Pale Directive. Training Module 31. Classification. Confidential. Tier 4. Threat Designation. UC-04, Granite Hollow. This material is approved for internal distribution only. UC-04 does not kill you. It ensures you never acted at all. This is the baseline from which all doctrine proceeds. Threat Designation UC-04, Granite Hollow, presents as a stationary humanoid entity. Height is recorded at a consistent 2.8 meters, with a bipedal, bilaterally symmetrical structure. Its composition is an unidentified silicate composite, exhibiting the visual and tactile properties of unweathered granite. The surface is non-reflective, registers no thermal signature above ambient temperature, and shows no signs of erosion or degradation, regardless of environmental conditions. It is functionally indistinct from a granite statue. This state is conditional. UC-04 has been documented in static positions across the European and North African theaters since its initial classification in early 1942. It appears without warning in locations of tactical significance, often near command posts, supply depots, or communication relays. Its baseline mass is approximately 1,400 kilograms. However, this is not a fixed parameter. Following specific events, a marginal but statistically significant mass increase is recorded, typically between 80 and 120 grams. This increase is non-biological and appears to be integrated directly into the entity's core structure. The exact delta remains under analysis, as does the nature of the mass being added. The primary threat of UC-04 is retroactive. In its baseline state, UC-04 is completely inert. It does not react to passive observation, environmental stimuli, or the simple presence of personnel. Field teams have completed full operational rotations within its documented perceptual range without incident. It can remain in this dormant state for periods exceeding standard deployment cycles, sometimes lasting for months. This passivity is to be considered a tactical condition, not a state of dormancy. The entity is not dormant, it is waiting. The trigger for UC-04's active phase is not proximity, sound, or physical contact. The trigger is the execution of a decisive, self-directed action by an individual within its perceptual range. This range is an estimated 500-meter radius, though this figure remains unconfirmed and may be variable. Routine, pre-scheduled, or externally directed actions do not typically trigger a response. Loading a weapon as part of a scheduled maintenance check is a routine action. Loading a weapon because you have independently decided the situation requires it is an act of initiative. The entity recognizes the difference. It targets operative agency. This active phase is designated a hollowing event. Upon triggering, the entity itself does not move. It does not change. There is no visible emission or recordable phenomenon. The effect is localized entirely to the operative who demonstrated initiative. They are subjected to a retroactive agency nullification. All physical interactions they performed within the preceding 1 to 5 minutes are instantly and completely undone. A door they unlocked is found locked. A radio transmission they sent is erased from all reception logs and the sending unit's memory. A grenade pin they pulled is back in the grenade. A fired round is returned, unfired, to the weapon's magazine. The spent casing vanishes from the floor. The operative is not killed, they are removed from the timeline of events. Surviving witnesses retain a clear memory of the operative's presence, but not their actions. They recall the individual standing beside them, but remember them as a static, silent, and non-interactive observer. They remember them doing nothing at all, until the moment they were simply gone. This creates a state of severe cognitive dissonance in adjacent personnel, which must be managed per Appendix 7 of the Field Manual. The hollowing event retroactively negates all of an operative's physical interactions, erasing all primary evidence of their final actions. This necessitates a specialized protocol for institutional documentation. For record-keeping purposes, all nullified actions must be painstakingly reconstructed based on secondary evidence, environmental discrepancies, and witness testimony. This reconstruction is then filed with Form 22B and Report of Nullified Agency. This is a mandatory procedure. The institution requires a record of what a person did, even if reality itself no longer does. Post-event analysis of UC-04's surface has identified the emergence of unique, intricate crystallographic patterns in the granite. These patterns, visible only under 50x magnification, do not correspond to known geological formations. Correlation with casualty records indicates a new pattern appears after each confirmed hollowing event. Requesting lab time for microscopic analysis of these patterns requires submitting Form 1138, the same used for standard material fatigue analysis. To date, 87 distinct patterns have been cataloged. All attempts to neutralize UC-04 have failed for the same reason. The act of fighting the entity is the act that triggers its defense mechanism. Direct engagement has been attempted. The results are uniform. An operative taking aim with an M1 Garand and firing a 30-06 round is performing a decisive action. This triggers a hollowing event. The operative vanishes. To their squad, it appears the operative raised their rifle, aimed for a moment, then simply disappeared. The rifle is found on the ground, safety engaged, with a full clip. No shot was ever fired. The action was nullified at the moment of intent. The same outcome has been documented with all standard issue munitions. 45 ACP rounds from an M1911A1 sidearm. Fragmentation effects from a number 36M grenade. Suppressive fire from a Bren light machine gun. All attempts are retroactively erased. The intent to engage is the trigger for nullification. Indirect attacks have also proven ineffective. During the Italian campaign in 1943, an artillery spotter from Unit Redacted identified UC-04 near a key mountain pass. The operative made an independent command decision to call in a fire mission on the adjacent cliff face, intending to bury the entity in a rock slide. This was an act of initiative. The after-action report, compiled from radio logs, indicates the fire mission was requested, but never confirmed by the battery. The spotter ceased transmission. An observation team later found the spotter's field radio at his last known position switched off. The rock slide never occurred. The attempt never happened. You cannot fight it. You cannot damage it. You cannot even successfully attack it, because the attack undoes itself. UC-04 is not resistant to conventional munitions. It is conceptually immune to the act of assault. Any direct action you take against it is classified as a procedural violation that retroactively prevents its own execution. The purpose of these procedures is not to defeat the entity, but to manage your own liability. Your survival in a UC-04 operational area is dependent on your capacity for absolute inaction. The following procedures are not guidelines. They are survival parameters. 1. Maintain passive observation only. Upon deployment to a sector containing UC-04, you will occupy your designated observation post. You will not deviate from this position unless given a direct external order from command. Your role is to be a sensor, not a soldier. You will observe. You will record your observations in the logbook at the scheduled time. You will not act on them. 2. Execute pre-scheduled actions only. All operational duties, including system checks, status reports, and supply rotations, will be performed according to a rigid, pre-approved timetable issued at the start of your shift. Adherence to this schedule must be exact. Performing a required action at the required time is classified as compliance. Performing the same action 1 minute early based on your own assessment of the situation is classified as initiative. Do not make this error. 3. Do not respond to non-critical alerts. In the event of a minor equipment malfunction or a non-threat sensor alert, you will remain at your post. You will not attempt to diagnose the problem. You will not attempt a repair. You will not silence the alarm. You will log the alert and await instruction from an external maintenance team. A blaring alarm is a documented environmental condition. Your unauthorized attempt to fix it is a hollowing trigger. 4. Communication Protocol 4. Alpha. All verbal communication must follow pre-written scripts for status updates. Non-scripted conversation is to be kept to an absolute minimum. Expressing a novel idea, proposing a new course of action, or issuing an unauthorized order to a subordinate are all severe breaches of protocol. Independent thought is a documented liability. Adherence to scripted communication is mandatory. 5. Threat response. If a conventional, non-anomalous threat enters the operational area, such as an enemy patrol, you will not engage. You will not take cover. You will not alert your partner. You will remain perfectly still and silent. Your standing orders are to allow yourself to be captured or killed by conventional forces rather than perform a self-directed action that would alert UC-04. The loss of an operative to enemy fire is a calculable risk. A hollowing event is a strategic compromise of the entire containment zone. Your personal survival is secondary to this protocol. 6. Contingency for PCM-7 failure. The Psyche Compliance Monitor is your primary safety tool. If your PCM-7 unit fails or enters an error state for any reason, you are to immediately assume a state of complete physical paralysis. Cease all movement. Cease all communication. Do not even adjust your posture. You will remain in this state until an external team can perform exfiltration. This may take hours or days. Any unauthorized movement during this state is grounds for your operational status to be reclassified as compromised. Recovery units will not be dispatched for compromised personnel. You will be abandoned. This is not a punishment. It is a logistical necessity. 7. Pre-deployment psychological conditioning. All personnel assigned to a UC-04 containment zone must complete the 40-hour initiative suppression course. This training utilizes behaviorist techniques to decouple situational assessment from physical response. Your instincts as a soldier will be systematically blunted. Failure to achieve a passing score on the final assessment will result in permanent disqualification from UC-04 duties. Your loadout for a UC-04 posting is designed to restrict you, not empower you. Failure to maintain this equipment is a critical procedural error. 1. Designation. PCM-7. Psyche Compliance Monitor. Function. A wrist-mounted biomonitor. It does not detect external threats. It tracks your neurological and physiological markers, specifically galvanic skin response and frontal lobe electroencephalography associated with premeditated self-willed action. An amber light signifies elevated agency markers, a warning to return to a passive mental state. A red light and auditory alert signal imminent procedural deviation. This is your final warning. Effectiveness. Partially effective. The device does not offer protection. It is a tool for behavior modification. Its purpose is to make you aware of your own non-compliance. 2. Designation. MDS unit. Memory Desynchronization Scanner. Function. A static environmental sensor installed throughout the containment zone. It constantly cross-references real-time environmental data against logged personnel actions stored on a physically isolated, lead-shielded hardline. Its purpose is to detect retroactive alterations to the physical environment, such as a door being closed after it was logged as open. Effectiveness. Effective. The MDS unit provides the only reliable confirmation that a hollowing event has occurred. It is a diagnostic tool, not a preventative one. It tells command that you are already gone. 3. Designation. Pre-sealed sustenance rations. Type G. Function. A 2 4-hour nutritional paste contained in a single, vacuum-sealed pouch with a timed release valve. The valve opens automatically at a preset time. No action is required from the operative to eat. Effectiveness. Effective. Removes the decision-making process related to sustenance, preventing an operative from choosing to eat early or late based on personal feeling. 4. Designation. Mark IV Combat Armor. Function. Standard issue personal protective equipment. Provides ballistic and shrapnel protection. Effectiveness. Ineffective. Provides no measurable protection against UC-04's primary effect. It is issued for the purposes of maintaining uniform operational appearance and for protection against conventional threats you are forbidden from engaging. All personnel assigned to Sector Redacted must submit their PCM-7 units for recalibration at the start and end of every shift. Failure to do so will result in immediate reassignment. Every procedure is a response to a prior failure. Incident Report. IR-0487. Containment Sector Gamma. Autumn 1944. Specialist Eva Rostova and Junior Officer Miller of Unit Redacted were on standard stationary observation duty. During their shift, a non-critical sensor fault triggered a low-priority containment alarm from an adjacent sector. Per protocol, no action was required. Junior Officer Miller, on his first deployment to the sector, became visibly agitated by the repeating audio alert. Specialist Rostova deviated from stationary observation protocol. She exhibited unauthorized initiative. She moved from her station to her partner's terminal and executed a manual system override to silence the non-critical alert. The hollowing event was confirmed by the sector's MDS unit at 0347Z. Specialist Rostova was reclassified as lost. The sensor fault she acted to correct was officially logged by the system as self-resolved. The official debriefing report for Junior Officer Miller contains the following statement. The klaxon alarm, which had been sounding, ceased for an unknown duration. It then resumed. I cannot account for the period of silence. Specialist Rostova remained motionless at her console for the entire event until she was no longer present. Initiative is a liability. Competence is a threat. The will to act is the trigger. The most effective soldier in a UC-04 operational area is the one who does nothing at all. Remember your training. Follow the procedures. Pale directive. End of module. Compliance is survival.